The PlayStation 4 has already had a stellar lineup of games, and we're only 4 months into the year. With spring bringing a lot of great games, including some excellent exclusives, it's hard for summer to live up, but there's some excellent PS4 games coming in the summer as well. So in this video, we're gonna go over 10 awesome PlayStation 4 games coming this summer. Now, this is going off the lineup that we know today. If a lot more games are announced, we might do an updated video in a month or two. So with that being said, let's get right into this. And these games are ordered based on when they are going to be released. Starting things off, we have Far Cry 3 Classic Edition. Far Cry 3 was to many the best Far Cry game in the franchise. While Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 5 are very good games, many would consider them just to be titles that built off the successes of Far Cry 3, and Far Cry 3 was excellent. You had an awesome main villain. The open world was a blast to explore, even though at this point that is a little bit dated. In terms of design and scope, there are games that are much bigger, but still there's going to be a lot of fun to have with Far Cry 3 Classic Edition. And remember, if you picked up the Season Pass to Far Cry 5, this will be a free game for you. And if you never played Far Cry 3, well, you're in for a good one on June 26th. Next up, we have The Crew 2. 2014's Crew was a highly anticipated open-world title. It was an open-world racing game, but many would say that it didn't live up to expectations, but it has become a better experience throughout the years, and now we have a full-on sequel in The Crew 2. Similar to its predecessor, The Crew 2 is once again a racing game, but this time around there's going to be a wide variety of vehicles, cars, motorcycles, boats, and airplanes. So expect the depth of the gameplay to be increased a lot. Once again, it'll feature a persistent open world for racing and free roaming across a scaled-down recreation of United States. Also, as I mentioned, with there being a wider variety of vehicles, each of them will have their own playstyle and different mechanics, so that's going to be nice too. The Crew 2 releases on June 29th.
Very different from one to another, but easy to pick up, but hard to master, because you will learn and you will try again and you will improve all the time. So you found that the first-person view was better for you, and it's good.
What have you guys learned about sort of cultivating that community of players and developing a world that they want to spend time in?
We are having playtests in Lyon every week, player coming to the studio, this player, and to learn from them, to improve the experience, to add, to discover more discipline we can add, or more stuff we can put in the game.
Mega Man X Collection 1 and Mega Man X Collection 2. Mega Man X is a very beloved franchise. Personally speaking, these are some of the games that got me into gaming, and while Mega Man X did taper off in quality towards the later titles with Mega Man X6, 7, and 8, there's still definitely fun to be had with those games, but X1 through X5 were very good action platformers. Mega Man at this point is an iconic franchise that unfortunately doesn't get a lot of new game releases. Typically, we are just stuck with getting collections, but considering the classic games are so good, the X Collection 1 and 2 are going to be very nice to have on PS4. Those hit July 24th. The Banner Saga 3. The Banner Saga 3 is the latest in the Banner Saga franchise, which is a franchise to me is very surprising that hasn't gotten much bigger. Those that have played the Banner Saga games know of the title's quality, and they are some excellent tactical RPGs in a great Viking-themed setting. They've got great combat, a great art style, a solid story, and some awesome music. If you've yet to even check out the Banner Saga games, you should know that there's also a Banner Saga Trilogy that's also being released, so you'll get all 3 games in one collection, so definitely give that a look. A very underrated franchise, and the Banner Saga 3 will be hitting on July 24th.
Foremost in the Dredge ally pack is the powerful Stone Guard Kiwi, who joins your party. Kiwi's a battle-hardened warrior, an unlikely ally from the other side, who wants to see the world saved for the same reasons you do. Kiwi carries with him a hammer and chisel, the tools of a sculptor, which is what he claims to be. Furthermore, make amends with the Dredge by flying exclusive heraldry with the unique heroic title, Shield Cleaver.
Next up, we have Yakuza Kiwami 2. Yakuza has had a stellar year, not only in 2018 so far, but 2017 was a massive year too. In the last 16 months, we've gotten Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza 6 The Song of Life, and now we have the latest game in the franchise in Yakuza Kiwami 2. Much like Yakuza Kiwami, this will be a full-on remake of the second Yakuza game, which is widely considered by many to be one of the best, if not the best game in the entire series. It's got a great story. You can expect that typical diverse Yakuza gameplay, but unfortunately, Yakuza Kiwami 2 will be releasing at a heftier $50 price point, as opposed to the $30 Yakuza Kiwami was released at, so that is a little bit unfortunate, but still, it's going to be well worth that as Yakuza Kiwami 2 hits the PlayStation 4 on August 28th. Divinity Original Sin 2. Divinity Original Sin 2 is the follow-up to Larian Studios' excellent Divinity Original Sin. Now, Original Sin 2 actually has already been released on PC and is widely considered to be one of the best PC games of all time. It's currently sitting at a whopping 93 on Metacritic. That is an incredibly high score. GameSpot gave the game a perfect 10 out of 10. Game Informer a 9.8. IGN gave it a 9.6. Looks like Polygon was the lowest rating at a 7 out of 10, but it is an excellent RPG with so much depth, a lot of choices to be made, and this one does have cooperative play, so if you want to enjoy the game with a couple of friends, you've got that option too. This is just an absolutely complete RPG. It doesn't hold your hand all too much, so if you're used to more consoleized RPG experiences, maybe it'll be a little off-putting to you at first, but be patient with it and you will be absolutely absorbed into the experience as Divinity Original Sin 2 hits the PlayStation 4 on August 30th. Next up, we have another major RPG in Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. Dragon Quest is one of the most iconic JRPG franchises ever. It's developed and published by Square Enix, and no, it's not as big as Square Enix's other franchise in Final Fantasy, but many prefer Dragon Quest over Final Fantasy. It's got that more old-school, simplistic style of gameplay, but that's not a bad thing at all, and it's still sticking to that traditional turn-based battle system, which for a lot of gamers, yes, has gotten a little bit dated, but for those of you that played old RPGs, you're gonna feel right at home. And with this, the visuals look great, and the PlayStation 4 version already released in Japan, and it got very good reviews, so expect more of the same when it hits the States on September 4th. Next up, we've got one of the biggest PlayStation 4 exclusives of the year in Marvel's Spider-Man. For a long time, we've wanted a Spider-Man game that was up to the quality of, say, what the Arkham games were for Batman, and yes, while there have been some good Spider-Man games, there hasn't been that truly excellent Spider-Man game. Well, Marvel's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 looks to be that excellent Spider-Man game. The developers behind the game are the world-renowned Insomniac Games, who have crafted some of the best PlayStation games of all time in Ratchet & Clank and Resistance. They also did the excellent Sunset Overdrive, which was an Xbox One exclusive, so you know they've got some familiarity in terms of open-world game design. And of course, this Spider-Man game will be an open-world title set in modern-day New York City, and this will be a love letter to fans of Spider-Man, but it also looks like a very complete action-adventure title. You're gonna have a lot of villains, a lot of fan service, but altogether, this looks to be a very good game as it's releasing on the PlayStation 4 on September 7th.
Is ours now.
Not today.
Spider-Man! Now the boss is here!
Next up, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The Tomb Raider franchise, ever since the reboot in 2013, has been fantastic. Crystal Dynamics have done such a wonderful job with the franchise, and even from the 2013 Tomb Raider, as excellent as that game was, Rise of the Tomb Raider was even better. Unfortunately, us PS4 gamers got it a year later, but nonetheless, now we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and this time around, it will be released day and day on the PlayStation 4 as with every other platform. We still have yet to see any gameplay of Shadow of the Tomb Raider as of the recording of this video. The first gameplay will be revealed at E3, but considering the successes of the last two Tomb Raider titles, I would expect Shadow of the Tomb Raider to just build upon that. Unfortunately, this is a game that has a whopping 7 pieces of DLC content that is going to be released post-game release. I'm not a big fan of that, but hopefully the game itself will be quality, and I'm sure Crystal Dynamics is going to deliver big with this one as it releases on September 14th.
What will I become?
And finally, we have Spyro the Reignited Trilogy. After Activision had massive success with the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, now we've got one for Spyro, and this is going to include the first 3 Spyro games in Spyro the Dragon, Ripto's Rage, as well as Year of the Dragon, 3 critically acclaimed PlayStation 1 games, and for a lot of us, it's a very nostalgic title. I know for me personally, Spyro was one of those franchises that, along with Mega Man, really got me into gaming, and I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way. And now with the 3 games remade, running on Unreal Engine 4, so far what we've seen has looked fantastic. This is going to be a love letter to fans, and for newcomers, it's going to be 3 great platformers for you to check out as well. Spyro the Reignited Trilogy hits the PlayStation 4 on September 21st.
Bring him on!
So that concludes the top 10 PlayStation 4 games coming this summer. What do you think? Which PlayStation 4 games are you the most excited for that are coming this summer? Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.